What's going on, love? I definitely hope you are still feeling absolutely amazing. Welcome or welcome back to Melanated Mindfulness Tarot. You already know that as you are entering this space, I am sending you all the good energy and the positive vibes that you may need at this time. Okay, this is going to be a collective conversation segment. So, based on the reading that I posted earlier, it was talking a lot about like reflections and putting life back into yourself, talking about self sabotaging, listening to spirit, making decisions, feeling better about your situation, and all of these things, right? So, what I noticed in an instant almost, right, was like I can show up, or not even just me, we can show up as readers or spiritual advisors, guided supporters, whatever the case may be. We can show up and we can give you the readings. We can talk to you about certain information. However, we're not sure how much you actually understand, if that makes sense. So, Spirit told me just to show up and just give the value, right? Just give the examples, just have collective conversation to help people better understand the energies that are surrounding them and how they could operate or how they could move or things that they can possibly do. So I'm being obedient. I'm showing up. If you have any questions throughout this reading, throughout this message, then make sure you leave them down in the comments and we can elaborate if we need to elaborate, right? So first thing first, I really want to talk about like the reflective aspect of spirituality because it's like it's a number of different things that can be going on when we're having certain experiences, right? Sometimes the reflective aspect is seeing yourself in other people, seeing like how do you see yourself in other people, right? Past, present, or future. That's one way. It also has this reflective aspect because it uses other people to trigger you or to show you things that you need to heal or fix or overcome, things that you need to tap into, things that you need to start doing for yourself. You get what I'm saying? It's showing you all the time the way. There's always signs, there's always synchronicities, there are always messages that are there. But because we're so distracted by the external influences of our world, we kind of dismiss how we need to incorporate those into our personal lives, if I may say it that way. Okay. So, like being reflective was such a huge thing for me because it enhanced my levels of awareness, right? It allowed me to see other people, have more compassion. It really just worked on my heart space. Like it really helped me heal from my heart space, which is your heart is one of the main places that you actually want to operate from. So being able to be reflective, see yourself and other people, or see the lesson or the message in what other people are presenting to you is always going to be A1. It again, on the surface, you personally may not be able to see it for what it is because you're involved in the situation, right? It's like you see things from a personal point of view. And this is why sometimes you do want to have conversations with other people. Sometimes you want to go beyond the people that you know or that you've known for a long time, and you want to get information, like ask questions, pick people's brains, see things from different perspectives just to see what may or may not work for you, right? Because no matter what it is, I could have experienced something and then you can come and ask me a question and I'll tell you about my experience. That doesn't necessarily mean that your experience is going to go the same way. But I show up and I talk about my experiences because I never know what it is that an individual can actually take from what it is that I'm sharing or what it is that I'm exposing so that they can apply it to their personal situation or that they could create their own way out of what I've shared type shit, right? So being reflective, I think, is again one of the main parts of it because it helps with so much in the beginning, right? The awareness, the accountability, the compassion, the forgiveness, and things like that. And once you start working on that stuff, then you can start putting life back into yourself. A lot of times we start to drain ourselves because it comes from a mental space because we're worried about the past. We're worried about things that we cannot change. We're worried about the future. It's just that we're putting ourselves outside of the present moment, which is then pulling at our mental space and not allowing us to operate in the here and now, which is the here and now is really the only thing that really, really matters. So I don't want you to be too discouraged or too distracted by things that are happening outside of now, right? Putting life back into yourself consists of things like doing what makes you feel good. So sometimes you have to go back, or you can go back into your childhood space, whether it's just your younger years, teenage years, grade school years, and start recognizing and realizing, or start remembering, right? Start remembering the things that used to make you feel good. What type of activities were you doing that made you smile and made you genuinely have fun, right? The smile that I'm exuding right now. So it's like, did you used to go ride your bike? Did you used to go hang out with your cousin? Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Did you used to go hang out with your cousins? Did you used to go swing on the swings? Were you making up dances? Were you going rollerblading? Were you going to the movies? Were you doing word searches? Were you making up songs? Was you rapping? Like, was you beatboxing? Whatever it was for you that made you feel like, hell yeah, like that shit tight, right? Like, I want to do that again. Those are some of the things that you can tap into in your now age. Again, we get so caught up in our day-to-day life experiences that we get distracted from doing the things that actually put into us. We start wondering and worrying about what everybody else got going on, or what they doing or what they not doing. We start wondering about, is everybody else okay? We start thinking about how certain people gonna feel if we make certain decisions for ourselves. A whole bunch of stuff that again just keeps us detached or disconnected from us, right? And that's one of the main things that is going to make you feel some type of way about your experience, is being so involved with what other people got going on and then dismissing what you actually need to be doing for yourself, right? Um, so yeah, just make sure that you are doing certain things to put back into you. Right. One of the main things that I had to start doing, I had to start waking up earlier. So if initially it seemed like a sacrifice, like I gotta wake up earlier just to have me time to myself, but it really started to like work wonders. Like magic really start happening, miracles really start to happen because I started to pour into me first. So when I start pouring into me first, and I started to acknowledge myself and what I actually wanted to be doing, then spirit, God, source, right? Angels, ancestors, they ended up creating more situations and circumstances and events for me to be able to experience the things that I actually liked to do, because where your focus goes is where your energy grows. So for me, like reading does certain things to me. Um, just like certain podcasts, just really evolving, elevating, educating myself, because I really do believe that knowledge gets you closer to God, right? Knowledge gets me closer to spirit. So if I'm educating myself and I'm learning myself and I'm learning to how to study other people, and I'm understanding the reality of a lot of shit that's going on around me, like it's giving me this heart that I desired to have for a very, very long time, right? Um, and I just started doing more of that. So spirit put me in a position to actually do more of that, right? To the point where I don't have a corporate job anymore. This is my job. Me showing up, me providing information, me helping, me assisting individuals like yourself with shifting, healing, managing their mindset and emotions. And I really find like peace in that, right? So just pay attention to what you need to do to start putting life back into yourself, and then just not with the expectation of, but just pay attention to how things start to transpire, how things start to actually shift, and how things start happening for you. Okay. Um, Next, I want to talk about like the self-sabotaging aspect of it all. You do know that you like are absolutely perfect, right? For where you are right now. And it's not saying that there's no room for growth and that you're done, but for where you are right now, you dope as fuck. Whether you want to believe it or not. And you probably can't see it for yourself because all you pay attention to or recognize is what you can do better, or what you should have done, or what you didn't do, right? that comes from how a lot of us were brought up, right? Like there's people, your family, your friends, your teachers. A lot of people were only pointing out like what they thought you were supposed to do better or what you didn't do, or you know what I'm saying? It was always on your head trying to make you be perfect for how they viewed perfect to be, which made you feel like, dang, I'm never gonna be right. I can never do this right. I'm always doing something wrong. This is always a problem. This is always an issue. I'm always getting in trouble. I can't never go outside. I can't never do this. I can't never do that, right? And now, since that type of energy has been projected on you for so long, that's what you see in yourself. Even though there are things that you can acknowledge and appreciate about what you've done, you still tend to find a way to say what you could have done better, what you're supposed to have done better, right? It might sound crazy when I say this, however, you not necessarily supposed to be doing anything. Like, it's a choice. Everything that you do is by choice. I don't care what it is. You don't have to show up as a parent. You don't have to have a job. You don't have to do certain things, right? Now, yeah, there are consequences or there are other things that happen when you decide to choose that route. However, it's always a choice. Like, you always have a choice. We're just raised and somebody has told you like this is what you're supposed to do, so this is what you have to do. But it's like if your life or your thoughts ain't set up how other people's is set up, do you really gotta show up in the space they telling you to operate in? There's people who, whether it's give their child up for adoption, there's people like myself who have had an abortion, right? There are people who do things that people don't agree with all the time. There's people who do the things that other people do not agree with all the time. That don't mean that we're bad people. That means that in that moment, we chose to do what we felt was best for us for whatever reason, even if it seems to be selfish to somebody else or whatever. Some people give their children up for adoption because they really don't feel like they're capable of holding up that end of the bargain, right? That does not make them a bad person. When they know, like, my life is in shambles, I am not in a position to raise a child, I want this child to have better, even though they do not know if that child will receive and or have better, right? It's just a possibility, and it's just the sometimes it can be the fear, it can be whatever that keeps this person from actually believing in themselves and in their situation, right? So again, I want you to start acknowledging yourself for what you actually do on a day-to-day basis so you can recognize how dope you really fucking are. Like, this ain't me just trying to be nice. This is me being real. I've had to go through this process. Should I still be having to go through this process just to remind myself of who I am? Like, you know how they tell you you're gonna be your own worst critic. You gonna it's you. It's always us going against ourselves and keeping ourselves in these positions that we really ain't comfortable with. We're settling in these positions because we're allowing our negative thoughts to consume us or to hold us back from moving forward, right? That's where the part where it's like, listen to spirit, like listen to your intuition. Sometimes you're not going to, on the surface you may think that you don't know, but you always have the opportunity to use the power of your mind to figure it out. That's going to be a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But just trust. Like, learn how to trust. Say, for instance, if spirit puts it on you, excuse me, nudges you to do a particular thing, and you like, that'll be so dope. But I don't know how I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to fail. I'm not going to be able to do all that. Like, yeah, the thought of it was dope. The idea is dope, but that's not, I can't do that. They wouldn't have gave you the idea if you can't do it, if you couldn't do it. Yeah, you probably can't do it right the first time, but when you start to go through your process and you educate yourself and you start having the experience and you start recognizing it for what it is, then you move forward, right? Thomas Edison didn't say, "Oh, I'm thinking about the light bulb. I'm going to make the light bulb this thing that makes light. I'm going to make it, and got it right on the first time. No. Well, it took like 1,000 tries before he got it right. Right? 1,000 tries. There's people who be out here busting their ass wanting to play sports. Some people make it and some people don't. But as long as you do your part, you're learning what you need to learn along the way. Right? You're learning what you need to learn along the way. So yeah, when spirit puts this image in our mind, this vision, that's showing you the end goal, right? This is where you can get to if you go through the process. But you don't be knowing the process. So you just decide you want to give up because it seems easier to just give up, right? Well, if that's how you want your life to keep on going, you keep on doing that. I just uploaded a YouTube short that was talking about like complication is an indication of elevation. When you are going through something and it seems too complicated for you to understand, that's because they're expanding your mind, telling you like get creative. Get creative. Either trust the process and or get creative and figure it out. Like we don't need you to keep on playing small. We need you to get creative. You have the power to create. Trust yourself in that. Trust your spirit guides. Trust God energy itself because you got everything that you need. You literally have everything that you need, but you got to see it. You got before you even see it, you got to believe it, right? Like when you believe it, then you'll be able to see it. But most of us be like, well, I got to see it to believe it. No, believe it so that you can see it. I can't make that up. Like just start putting yourself in a position to feel good about the experience opposed to feeling like you're not enough, opposed to feeling like everybody always doing something wrong to you, opposed to you feeling like, you know, whatever it is that you be feeling like, you want to feel good majority of the time. So instead of taking these situations, these things personal that's happening around you, right? They're not happening to you, they're happening for you. Trust that. And sometimes you might have to open yourself up to having a conversation with, again, somebody outside of your normal crew, whether that be a therapist, whether that be me, because you've been around certain people for so long, right? You and those people are more than likely on the same vibrational frequency. So that's who you familiar with. They know how to like y'all react and respond in a similar way, right? So when you go and you give them some type of information, they react based on you. Like they react based on y'all relationship. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes they may be emotionally connected to your same situation. You can be out there looking for a job. You go to the interview, you tell them you got an interview, they happy, they geek that you got the interview. But when you come in and you tell them you didn't get the job, now they cussing at the people before you even get to cuss at the people. Right? Or they like, fuck them. You ain't gotta worry about them. Like they don't know what the fuck they're missing out on, opposed to and then while they're talking like that, you like, but it ain't even that serious. Right? Or you may even agree with them, like, I know, right? Be careful with the energy y'all be exuding. And that can show up in a lot of different ways. That was just one example that I decided I wanted to try to use. It don't work like 7 out of 10. listen, listen. I wasn't even supposed to be touching these cards or nothing, but I just want to see what the overall energy is from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck. Let's just see. The card that comes out is guilt. Look at it. It's like holding on to guilt. You can't even operate in the space that you're supposed to be operating in right now today because you're allowing the things of the past to keep a hold on you. That goes back into that self-sabotaging energy. Right? That's what that goes back into. That self-sabotaging and that like disappointment type of energy, the energy where it's kind of consuming you, the energy where you don't feel good about the situation. there is some stuff that you need to release. And there's a number of different ways that you can do that. Start focusing on what it is that you need to start doing to put life back into yourself, instead of sucking the life out of you and taking life away based on how you think, which then indicates or dictates and determines how you feel about certain situations. Yeah. So again, this has been the collective conversation with Shawnee. I definitely hope it brought you some more clarity, some insight, right? I definitely hope it's helping. I do want to do more segments like this. So if you want me to elaborate on anything else, make sure that you go ahead and leave me a comment. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Until next time, love, enjoy yourself. Peace.